Welcome to Paramount Moments with Patrick, where we explore the extraordinary journey of a cowboy who's walked on both sides of the fence. Meet Patrick Lawrence, a man with a simple approach to walking with Jesus, sharing the love that transforms lives. Join us as he fulfills his mission, guiding and inspiring others towards a better life through the transformative power of walking with Jesus. Stay tuned for uplifting conversations and Paramount Moments. This is the podcast that leads you to a life illuminated by the love of Jesus.
Well, hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking us out, checking me out, whoever out. So I'm going to talk about something that I was talking with a good friend of mine on the phone the other day, driving down the road, and I was kind of led to talk about it. So we're going to talk about accountability. It's pretty important. But also, not only is it pretty important, I think people have a hard time with it. Just like, we take care of our horses or whatever, our families. I mean, we're also accountable to the Lord and to each other for that. And I think sometimes our society has a hard time with that. That if I hold you accountable, that it means I'm mad or I'm upset at you. No, I hold you accountable because I expect you to hold me accountable. And most people in my circle, either my inner circle or circle at all, hold me accountable for my actions and my behavior. And I hold myself accountable because for many years I didn't. So our text today comes from Galatians 6:5. This is going to be from the KJV. For every man shall bear his own burden. Now, what is accountability? In my terms, it's pretty much owning up, owning your stuff, owning your actions, but also not only owning your actions, but owning the consequences of those actions. And sometimes it's a little hard to swallow those consequences. Sometimes it's a little hard to own our actions, right, wrong, or indifferent. That's not a good feeling to know that your actions may have upset somebody. And sometimes I know with me, when I say things, somebody I'm speaking with might not take that or interpret that the way I say it. Because when I say things, there may be 4 or 5 other parts that go with that. So sometimes people come back to me and go, hey, you said this and it really bothered me, or, it upset me. And I have to go, I'm sorry, but this is what the thought that was with that, or here's where I come from that. Now, does that make it okay for me to be that way? No, but that's where the accountability in the conversation and owning your stuff comes from. And I think it's a real important thing that we are personally responsible for our actions. And we don't justify those actions. I take great honor in somebody if they say, hey, you know what, if I come to them and go, hey, you know what, this kind of, and they go, you know what, I'm sorry, that's not how I meant it, or okay, I'll check that. I have to check myself sometimes, because I'll use my daughter as an example, that sometimes when I raise my voice, I may be doing it in a joking manner or a funny manner, or just messing around, and I have to realize that my daughter, that's kind of a trigger for her from who I was in the past. So I have to be aware of that. There are times I'm better at being aware of that than I am at other times. Sometimes I'm just off in my own world and go, well, this is what I mean by it. And if you missed it, you missed it. Well, that's not real cool either. But I'm not going to change who I am at the same time. But you don't have to change who you are. But if somebody comes to you about something, just own up to it. Just go, oh, okay, I'm sorry. Sorry you felt that way. This is what I meant by it. and here's to that personal responsibility thing. You know, a parable is in Matthew 25:14-30. Each servant was given responsibility and had to take account for it. God expects us to be stewards of what we've been given, and what's been given to us. And that's not only, you know, the home you have and the job you have or the vehicle you have, but also be stewards of the friends we have, the spouse we have, the kids we have, the relationships we have. We have to be stewards of that. And being responsible and owning our actions is being a steward of that. I always got to do this and I always forget. But please, also thank you for listening to this, but also follow me, Instagram, Paramount Moments with Patrick, TikTok at Patrick Lawrence, YouTube, Paramount Moments with Patrick, Spotify, Paramount Moments with Patrick, Facebook, Paramount Moments with Patrick, and then my website is paramountpatrick.com. Also, while you're on that website, if you want to look up, I got merch out there if you're interested. If nothing else, just email me and we'll figure something out. But you go clear back to the beginning of the Bible. You know, this isn't something that's new with us or with our society. I mean, go clear back to Adam and Eve in the garden. In Genesis 3:8-13, they tried to dodge the responsibility of their actions. You know, the serpent told me to do it. No, you still took the action and picked the apple and took a bite of the apple. It started clear back then. So your part of not taking accountability is nothing new. But that doesn't mean it's okay to do it. And avoiding accountability can lead to broken relationships. You know, I guess there's a trust thing there with relationships that, you know, we would hope people that we have in our circle and who we choose to love and who to be around are going to take accountability for their actions. And there have been people that in my life, and probably me at one time, I can pretty much guarantee me at one time, that when people bring those things to you, it's hard to listen. And it's hard to take that accountability and that ownership of that I might have hurt somebody. You know, this was enjoyable for the minute, but it caused, you know, waves of hurt and pain. I mean, I look back at before I was saved and the things I did and the ways that I behaved. I mean, that had an aftershock of, you know, huge trauma and hurt and changed people. I mean, changed my first wife. I mean, you know, it just, you don't think about that. And I am thankful, and I thank the Lord every day that once I got saved, I was able to take accountability for some of that stuff. Did it change what I did? No. Did it bring me a little bit of peace in my walk to be able to go to those people and go, hey, you know what? I'm sorry. I remember when I first got saved, I used to call my ex-wife. I don't know how many times, probably not as many as I think I did, and I would just tell her I'm sorry. I'm sorry for what I did to you. And finally one day she's just like, Patrick, stop saying you're sorry. I forgive you. It's all good. You know, and that's what it's about. You know, there's people that I hurt in high school that I was able to apologize to. And there's people that I've been around in my life that's all that's all you need to hear. But also there's times that you can hear, I'm sorry, and they take accountability for that action, but you're also aware that they need to change that behavior and that you need to keep them at a distance and they need not be in your inner circle. And that's okay too, because you can have that accountability, but you still need to keep that peace. And even if that person takes that accountability, and you forgive them, that doesn't mean they need to come into your inner circle, if that makes sense. It's okay to love people from a distance. Kind of bringing two things in together, but you follow what I'm saying. And you have to take accountability in your community. And your community could be your family, could be your work, could be your church, could be your roping club, your rodeo. That list could go on and on and on. And about a year ago, it was probably last year. I had a pretty traumatic year. Lost my mentor, my hero, injured my leg pretty good, was off work quite a bit. And I'd come back to work, and there were some things that happened that I own what happened, and I wasn't probably very nice about it. And luckily, my supervisor called me out on it. And I had to take accountability for that I was disrupting the community or my work. And I had to own that. And I had to go, okay, there's some things I need to change about me. And there's some things that I needed to change how I behaved, but I also had to take into account that not everybody's at the level that I'm at, or not everybody thinks like I think. And that's okay too. We're all created differently. But kind of like, if you're taking care of a herd of cows or a herd of horses, and you work with other people, we all got to manage and work that together. So we all need to stay together, and we need each other. We need each other for support, and we need each other for correction. And I think that's when you honestly know you have a true good relationship with somebody, that they can correct you, but you don't take it terribly offensive, or you don't get upset about it. It might hurt a little bit, and you might get upset for a little bit, but most of the time, if you do, if you just sit and think about it and go, okay, yeah, they're right. There's been times with my kids that I've probably said things and they're like, Dad, that was kind of, I think I talked about this on the last podcast. I had a situation with my daughter that, she's a spitting image of me when I was 21 years old. And she will get fired up about the littlest thing. And I was speaking very calmly to her and said some things to her that I probably could have said in a nicer way, but that's just not me. I'm very straightforward. I'm black and white. And it upset her. And she shared with me how it upset her. And when the message first came through, I was like, hey. And I was like, but you know what? Then I sat for a minute and I didn't respond to her. And I took a few minutes and I just kind of sat with myself and kind of meditated a little bit and went, you know what? She's a grown adult. She's allowed to have her feelings, and that's okay. That's what true love is. Now, the funnier part about that was, about a week and a half ago, we went to Topgolf, and she said, yeah, Dad, I kind of overreacted a little bit. I'm like, it's okay. So at that same time, if you're corrected and then that person comes back, that's not the time to go ahead and start browbeating or jumping up and down on them. Just go, yeah, it's all good. But I think that's where accountability comes around. We got to be accountable for all that stuff. And just think about how different your relationships and your daily whatever would be if you just take accountability for it. Say, for example, I come in the recording studio and I'm grumpy and I'm cranky and I whatever, and the person here helping me, I get cranky with them. Okay, well, that's, and he comes back at me because he's feeling me. I got to own that. And then go, you know what? Sorry for that. And most of the time, most people that I'm around, that I keep around in my circle, in my world, most people are like that because we're all the same. We're all looking at the same thing. Galatians 6:1-2 talks about restoring those who stumbled. That's accountability in action. Like I just talked about with my daughter. Like I talked about with me. There's people that I listened to so every night when I shut down the life and shut down everything, I find a video or a sermon or something to listen to. And I was listening to a video last night, and it was about, now I can't remember the word because I'm forgetting, but it's like falling down and just perseverance. I think I'm not pronouncing that right, but you know what I mean. Of it's okay to fall down. It's okay with the people in your circle and the people that you have. We're all going to fall. We all have bad days. We all have things that happen in our lives. We all get stressed out. We all worry about different things. I sit here and I have this ministry and I have this podcast and I have my stuff. Am I perfect all the time? No, I'm not. There are times that I get stressed out. There are times that I get tired. There are times that I get grumpy. I've started a new venture of training horses, and I'm enrolled in a class and, learning a different way to train horses. And about 2 weeks ago, I was working with this one mare, and I was like, she just wasn't getting it. And basically what happened, we both started just butting heads. And I started not handling her correctly and being, as a horse trainer I listened to says, I had hands of a butcher, and wonder why she's not acting right. And I sent the videos off to my instructor and my coach, and he kind of said something to me about, getting a little, maybe you need to back off pressure a little bit. And I went into this spiral of, I'm not going to get this, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do this. And was talking to him, and he said he held me accountable for it. He's like, well, you just got to relax a little bit. You're learning this new. We're walking this new. This is a new thing for you. So sometimes if you have somebody who you're holding accountable, it might be new for them to be held accountable. It's new for me sometimes. Sometimes I don't know how to take it either, because somebody's holding me accountable, but it's like, but wait a minute, that's not how I meant it. Okay, explain that to them. That's not how you meant it, and have a conversation about it. I have a good friend in the oil field that we talk all the time about how, working in the oil field, I spend more time with the guys in the oil field than I probably do my own family. But there's times that we're going to be on a job, or we're going to be tired, that we're going to get snappy with somebody. And that's when you have to hold yourself accountable and go, okay, I'm not going to take this personally right now, because it probably has nothing to do with me. Side note. Most of the time, if somebody's grumpy with you, it probably has absolutely nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you. It probably has to do with something that happened way before that person even interacted with you. So hold yourself accountable and go, okay, I'm not going to get so upset about this. I'm not going to be so sensitive. Okay? That's something I have to remind myself. I can get really sensitive about certain things. There was a time before I got saved that if anybody was upset or mad, I thought it was my fault. And as I've grown and as I've matured, I've learned that it probably has nothing to do with me. And if you're upset at me and you're not going to come to me and go, hey, Patrick, you did ... so I'm aware of it and I'm being held accountable and I can hold myself accountable, then you have no reason to be upset at me. But you also have to understand, going to people and calling people out on that also makes people uncomfortable, because they don't like to see those things and they don't want to know those things, and some of them didn't even realize they did it. So here is some practical steps for living accountability, whatever that means. That's not right, but anyways. Find a partner. Find somebody who's going to hold you accountable, someone you can trust to keep you on the straight and narrow. Do regular check-ins with them. Have friends in your circle that are like that. When I first got saved, a good friend of mine said I needed to find an accountability partner. And there was 5 men standing up in front of this church. And I looked at one of the guys and he goes, don't pick me because I will let you down. And I picked another gentleman. And if he listens to this podcast, he knows who I'm talking to. And my job, my responsibility, my accountability was I had to check in with him every day. Now, mind you, not only was I walking with Jesus for the first time, but I was facing all the bad parts of me. I take this from a video I saw. I was hugging the cactus, I guess, is the way to put it. I was owning my stuff. And I had to check in with him at least once every day. And if I did not check in with him, he was blowing my phone up. If I was having a hard day, I had to reach out to him, tell him this. And he would either pray for me or give me some scripture. He would give me something. The other part is, be honest with yourself and others. Because no matter what you think, the truth is going to come out someday. Plus, you can't pull the wool over the big man's eyes. God knows. He knew what you were going to do before you knew you were going to do it. Again, continue. Thank you for following me. You can follow me on Instagram, Paramount Moments with Patrick, TikTok at Patrick Lawrence, YouTube, Paramount Moments with Patrick, Spotify, Paramount Moments with Patrick, Facebook, Paramount Moments with Patrick, and my website, paramountpatrick.com. And again, if you have any questions, prayer requests, anything, just message me on there. It'll come to my email. Yeah. And I just appreciate you guys listening. You know, somebody the other day asked me about, Patrick doesn't want followers, and I want followers, but it's not what's important to me. My mission and what's important to me with this is if it touches one person, then I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. There are probably ways that I could find out how many people it touched, and there's probably ways I could boost that up, but that's not what it's about. If one person listens to this podcast and it touches and it resonates with them, then I'm doing what I need to do, because that's all it's supposed to do. All right. Conclusion. Accountability is not always easy. It's not. I lived 42 years the other way. I've lived 10 years now walking with Jesus. Am I perfect? No. Am I honest with myself all the time? No. Do I do silly, stupid things? Yes. Do I put my foot in my mouth? Yes. But I own it. And being accountable is necessary for spiritual growth. You got to own your stuff. I am 52 years old, and I will be completely honest. I go to therapy every week, once a week. Is it the same therapist I had 10 years ago? Yes. She made the comment to me one day that she looks forward to the day that I fire her. That's not a bad thing. That's therapy talk. And if I fire her next week, I know, because she's in my inner circle, that I could call her up 3 weeks later and she's like, all right, I'll get you in. Side note, therapy is one of the best gifts you can give to yourself. You can rely on your buddies. I can rely on my buddies, my cowboy buddies, my whatever. But you have to understand they've got to deal with their own stuff too. Just something to think about. And remember, we're ultimately accountable to the big man, the big G, Father God. That's who you're accountable to. Because he knew what you're going to do before you're going to do it. And one day you're going to go up there and you're going to have to own what you did. Even though he already knew it. And here's the thing that I say. Everybody asks me, or I guess one of the reasons of why I live the way I live. Because I need Jesus. Because I'm messed up. It's not anybody's fault. I mean, it's generational curses clear back to the 1900s. But I made the choice that I was going to change it. I decided that I was going to be the person in my family that was going to change it. Am I perfect at it? No. I'm not. I'm not perfect at it. You can ask any one of my friends. They'll tell you. I try. I'm pretty bold about it, but I try. So let's commit to living accountable, knowing that one day we'll stand before the Lord's judgment seat. Just try it. Just try it for one day. Is it going to be uncomfortable? Yes, very uncomfortable. It's going to be hard because we don't want to face that. It's hard as humans to own that we hurt somebody or that we disappointed somebody. It is hard. But I guarantee you that person that you hurt or that you disappointed, if you tell them sorry, they're probably going to respect it. You know, when I got saved and when I do something stupid and put my foot in my mouth, and I go to somebody and I go, I'm sorry. There's been people that's like, that's it? Yeah, that's it. What else do I need to say? Because if I say anything else, I'm justifying it. Sorry. And just watch how people change. Just watch. Again, thanks for following me. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. Just give it a whirl. It's how we change it, one person at a time. Thank you all for your time. Have a great day.
Thank you for joining us on this inspiring journey with Paramount Moments and Patrick. To dive deeper into Patrick's ministry, visit momentswithpatrick.com or catch his enlightening content on YouTube at Paramount Moments with Patrick. Your support means the world. Stay tuned for more uplifting conversations and Paramount moments in the next episode. Until then, keep walking with purpose and may your moments be truly paramount. Thank you for listening.